everyone, welcome to the channel. So for today's video, I wanted to talk about my daughter Ellie's first 2 nights in her big girl bed. Now, when Ellie was born, we bought her, she had a Moses basket that she slept in for like a few months. But then we also bought her a cot bed. And for those who don't know, a cot bed is basically a cot when your child is born, suitable from birth. It's just, pretty much a standard cot. But then as your child gets older, it can change from a cot into a little toddler bed. So that is what we chose to do for Ellie a few nights back. And I wanted to talk about how she dealt with the change a little bit for the first couple of nights. For some children, a bed takes a lot more getting used to than others, and every child does act differently to getting a bed and sleeping in a bed. Please just make sure that you're following all of the guidelines for safe sleep. The first night that we did it was the 5th of Feb, so not too long ago. And before she went to bed that day, we showed her the cot bed for the first time, and she was really excited. She literally ran straight over to it. She loved it. She was like laying down on it. She was sitting on it. So then when bedtime came that night, we kind of did the usual bedtime routine. And of course, she would normally be in a sleeping bag. And I think the fact that she wasn't in the sleeping bag kind of threw her off a little bit. So she did take a little bit longer to settle for bed. She seemed a bit more restless than what she would normally be. And eventually she did kind of start calming down. After I kind of cuddled her a little bit, I took her into her bedroom, and she was wide awake still, but she was chilling, she was quiet. And I just put her in the bed, put the duvet over her a little tiny bit, and left. I wanted to see what her reaction would be. She literally cried for about 5 or 10 seconds maximum, and then she went quiet. And I went in to check on her about 20 minutes later, and she wasn't in a deep sleep, but she was settling herself, and she was just chilling. I think she was mostly asleep, but she wasn't in a deep sleep. The thing is with my daughter Ellie is that she's never ever had a dummy, but she has always sucked on her fingers to kind of soothe herself. So I could hear her sort of gently sucking on her fingers, and she was happy. She did wake up in the night and cry a few times, but she did manage to settle herself. She didn't ever cry for long. She just managed to settle herself. And she never ever got out of her bed either all night. She was just happy, she was chilling. And my husband gets up for work at 6:15, and I went in her room at about 6:30 just to make sure she was okay. And that is when she saw me, and she kind of sat upright, and she was like, oh, must be time to wake up now. And she was like getting ready to climb out of her bed. I was like, oh my God. But other than that, it was a pretty good first night. The second night was a little bit different again. As usual, we did our normal bedtime routine. I was settling her, just kind of cuddling with her a little tiny bit. And then she eventually just sort of dozed off to sleep, actually. She was that kind of chilled and relaxed. She was a little bit restless, but not as restless getting to sleep as the first night. So she was fast asleep, you guys. So I picked her up. I just gently laid her down in her bed, put the covers over her a little bit, and straight away, you guys, she was crying, and she got out of her bed and basically ran straight to me and just kind of gave me a hug and wanted me to pick her up and stuff. So that's when my husband held her for a little bit, and we tried again putting her back into her bed when she was a bit more settled. And she did the same thing again. She got straight back out. She was like running, crying to us and hugging us and wanting cuddles, and a bit restless. So what we did the third time, we kind of cuddled her a little tiny bit. We took her in a room. We put her in a bed, put the covers over her, and me and my husband just stayed with her for, I think it was about 15 minutes. We read her a couple of bedtime stories just to sort of settle her. And then what we did was we turned the landing light off and we shut her door a little bit with us still in her room, and she was happy, she was chilling. She wasn't crying or restless, she was just chilling, enjoying herself, just relaxing in her bed really. And she started sucking on her fingers, trying to settle herself. And then, you know, we stayed all in all in her room with her for about 15 minutes maybe maximum, and we left, and we didn't hear her cry throughout the whole night. It was absolutely fine. She didn't wake up or get out of bed at all through the night, which is absolutely brilliant. The only time that she did get out of bed was at 8:30 in the morning. So that's really, really good. Really, I think all in all, considering how much of a big transition this is and how much of a big milestone this is, I think that we've had 2 pretty okay nights so far, to be honest. And I will be interested to see how the nights go as we progress with her being in a bed. Eventually it'll just be something that she'll get used to. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed or you found this useful. If you did, leave this video a big thumbs up. If you're new here, make sure to click on that subscribe button. How has your child been dealing with the transition between cot and bed? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks a lot, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Bye.
You're so cute.